Welcome to yet another lovely Tuesday of March. And just like I had a theme for February, I also have a theme for March, which initially was because I know the other video was about self-love, which was like a whole compilation of what I spoke about in February, but the initial theme of March was about loss. So I'll be talking about loss and on a very personal note because I happened to lose my mom in the month of March in the year 2001, and it marked a great transformation for me. So welcome. If you're a first-time subscriber, please remember to subscribe, like, and share the video. And if you're a returning subscriber, most welcome, feel at home, and welcome. My name is Jacinta Wangeshi. Karibu sana. So like I mentioned, March of the year 2001 marked a huge transformation for me. What do I mean by that? I will just give a brief scenario of what happened during this one night of March in the year 2001. It was a few months to my 10th birthday. And I didn't know. That's the crazy thing about loss. You never know when it will happen. You never know when it hits you. And no one can actually even be able to explain each other's pain. And today I'll be talking about losing a loved one because that, for me, is what I have gone through. I will talk about loss in different angles. I will talk about losing a loved one. I will talking about even losing a relationship because one way or not, it is still loss. Whether it's a divorce, whether it's a separation, whether it's a breakup, whether it's losing or maybe your parent, your kid, it's all loss. Yeah, even a job is still a loss. So I'll just talk about loss in general, but today, just for today, I'll talk about losing my mom, and I'll give my personal story as well as just talk about it. And I'm talking about this just to be able to relate to someone who is going through this somewhere because it's been 23 years now. And for 23 years, you would tend to think that, okay, maybe the pain is less now, but honestly, it doesn't really lessen the pain. You still feel like it was still yesterday. And the full story or even the details of what happened that fateful night is on my book, Unbound. If you've not gotten a copy of it, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it locally, just DM me, tell me where you are, and we'll make arrangements on it. So on this fateful night, March 2001, I woke up and I remember, first of all, my mom was very sickly. From what I remember, for a certain period of time, she will be in and out of hospital, but I never really knew what was wrong with her. All I remember was that day we came from school. I have a brother who is an year younger than me, and she was so sick. She was lying on the couch. She could not even cook for us dinner that day. During lunch that day, because we would go home for lunch, we also came to find that my dad had just brought her from hospital, and he bought us fries. We were happy, as kids, 9, 10, you're like, okay, fries. You really think, okay, she's sick, but she'll be okay. The good thing is that we get to eat fries, right? So that is how it was for me. And I remember when back to school, yes, I was feeling something was really off, but I cannot really explain it. I could not even explain it that time. So we come back home later in the evening and we still find her lying on the couch, and she looked weak. And it hit me like she's not okay. She's not okay. And as she sent us to go buy, I don't know whether you people, everyone, because I know some people from different walks of life, or not just in Africa or Kenya, actually watching this, but it was a dish called mokimo. Mokimo is a mixture of maize, beans, some green veggies that you mash together to become this mashed food that is still my favorite up to date. So she sent us to go buy it for dinner, me and my brother. And when we were going, we were not even speaking to each other. I think both of us were lost in thought, just thinking of what really is going on. It was now hitting us like she's very sick. We have seen her sick, but we have never seen her this sick. But anyway, we came back, and I remember we were eating. She was just lying there. We tried to eat the food. You know the way it is when you're trying to eat the food, but someone is sick, and she's not just anyone, she's your mom, she's your world. It was the hardest, by far, the hardest meal I've ever had to eat. But she was, I think most of us as Africans know how important food is. Our parents keep reminding us, you need to finish your food. So we ate quietly. She was there and she would talk to us. She was lying on the couch as we were waiting for my dad to get home from work. And my dad gets home and it's a time to go to sleep. And he went to sleep. But I remember I did not sleep. I could not sleep. Like, you can always feel something is wrong. It's not the way it is supposed to be. And let me tell you that even writing this book, for me, the second chapter of the book was the hardest. I would cry. I would just lay back and pick it up again and write. And the memories, they were all so fresh. So even though it's 23 years, still remembering it, it still feels like I'm reliving the memory. So it's still very painful. So anyway, I couldn't sleep that night, and we had this bed. It was a double decker, and from there I stayed up like all night, just laying there in my bed, and it was a single room, so you could hear. From my book, you can be able to tell the kind of upbringing I came from. It was not really a very luxurious life, but we had everything that we needed. Never sent home for school fees, but not really a fancy lifestyle. So I could be able to hear everything that was happening. And I remember it was at, I think, some minutes past midnight or sometime. Really, because I never went back to sleep, it was maybe around 2 or 3 a.m. And I had my dad tell my mom, my mom tell my dad, take me to the couch. And from where I was sleeping, I could be able to see the lights coming back on. And my dad carried my mom and brought her to the couch, and I could see her, and she was wearing a very, just a vest. She was burning up. Not to say that it was hot, but she was burning up for some reason. She was sweating, and my dad was like, let me leave you here, let me go. But I'm talking about 20 years, maybe late 90s, early 2000s. We only used to have this one phone in the estate. I remember all calls used to be picked up at her house. So we hardly had phones, we hardly had Uber, and I think only around 1 or 2 people had a car in my estate. So my dad told my mom, why don't you sit here and let me go look for a way to get you back to hospital. And then my mom was like, no, don't bother, don't leave me, stay with me here. And for some reason, I could just feel it. You know, the way you can feel like something is wrong? I could feel it. And in less than a few minutes, she was saying she's feeling hot. My dad will try and fan her. And then all of a sudden, she'll be like, I'm cold. My dad will come with a blanket and cover her. And I was watching this whole thing from a little gap on my bed, just watching how everything is unfolding and wondering what's happening. And I remember praying, just asking God, I don't know what's happening, but please just be with my mom. Until eventually she just went quiet. And when she went quiet, I remember seeing my dad trying to do CPR on her, trying to pump her chest. And eventually he goes out of the house. And from what I will come to find out later, he went to get the car to get her to hospital. But when he left, I came from my bed and I went, looked at my mom. I tried calling her. And she was not responsive at all. And I don't know, for some reason, the way you normally feel, okay, maybe she's going to be okay and all that, I just knew that she's gone. She was not gone at that particular moment because later on I found out that she actually passed on the way to hospital. But she was maybe breathing her last, but we could not even tell whether she was there or not. Personally, I could not. And in a few minutes when I was just watching her lying there, very peaceful, my dad comes in with this woman, our neighbor, and this man who has the car, and they picked her up. They had to dress her fast because remember she kept burning up, she kept having chills all of a sudden. And the woman dressed her up really quickly, and they were like, "Why are you up? What are you doing?" And I told them I was going to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom and told me, "Go back to sleep." But the whole entire night, I did not sleep. I did not sleep. And morning came, the woman came back, she stayed with us, and when morning came, she got us ready for school. And we went to school. My brother, I don't know, we never discussed. I don't know whether he knew what was going on or what wasn't. But when we got to school, I remember I had a best friend by then. Her name was Pauline. And Pauline, if you're still out there and you remember me, please just say something. So I remember telling Pauline, my friend, that I lost my mom. I was crying. Did I know that she was gone? Deep down, I did. Had somebody announced it to me? No. But that whole day, I was so low. I was crying. I just felt it in my heart that she's gone. And let me tell you the sad thing that actually happens when you lose someone is that when somebody else loses someone, we hear and we think, okay, it has to be very sad. But do we really feel their pain? We don't. We don't really feel it as much until it happens to you. When it happens to you, that is when it changes everything in you. That's when you actually know what pain is. Because coming back home, we found a beehive of activities. There were women cooking. I saw my auntie who used to live in the country. She was there. Actually, there were two aunties, my sister's dads. They were there, and we were wondering what's going on. You know, the way people come together, and that evening there's a meeting and all that. So it was a beehive of activities. People were there, and I just remember. So we came and I asked her, "Where is Mom?" One of my aunties, and she said, "Okay, get into the house, we'll talk." And that's when she said, "Mom has gone to be with the Lord." Let me take a break. So, those words, let me say, I still hear them like they're so fresh, up to date. Those are the most heartbreaking words I've ever heard in my entire life. Why am I sharing this story? I'm sharing this story because every single year, especially in March, it's normally like the lowest point of my life. I keep asking myself, what was even the whole essence? They say everyone comes into this world for a purpose, with a reason and for a purpose. What's the purpose of that? Some of these questions, okay, these are some of the questions that I ask myself. And I know that there's so many other people out there who have lost their loved ones but still ask themselves these questions. Remember, it's been 23 years already. For someone who has never lost someone that is close to them or dear to them, I know you're tempted to say, but it's been already too long. I've moved on with my life. I even was in a relationship. I have had 3 kids. I even had this baby that I named after my late mom. But that still does not fill the gap. That does not fill the gap. The pain remains the same. It's still very, very painful to even think about it. And the other thing is that life moves on like this person never even existed. And in this light, there are some lessons that I've taken from the loss of my mom, which I used to discuss a lot, especially with my late grandmother. She's now late, but she was the mother to my late mom. She will often tell me, Jacinta, you need to live your life regardless of the fact that you have kids or not. Because ask yourself, if one day or if today you passed on, and she will give me an example, your mom was here with us, but she left. Did that stop you from becoming who you are today? It did not. So this is a lesson not just to me, but to every woman out there because as women, we hold on to our kids so much. But you need to know that you need to live your life, despite the fact that you have those kids with you or not. Despite the fact that you're a mother or not, you have to live your life. Because the destiny of these children, I normally say, it's as mothers, we are like bridges, because kids cannot come from heaven and fall to the ground. They have to come by somewhere. So we are that bridge. We are what brings them. We're what bridges the heaven and earth. We bring them here. But that kid will never be like you. They might never even have a destiny like yours. They might never even like the things that you like. So consider that or think about that when you're living your life every single day. The other thing is to count your blessings and just love the people who love you and be there for them. Appreciate them every single day, because you never see it coming. You never know how long you have. Somebody told me that life is like, see the way we recharge our mobile phone numbers with credit card, we load it with a card. We know it has maybe like 1,000 or 100 shillings. We can be able to track it. You have a code for checking the balance and all that. So when you're born, you're recharged. We don't know if you've been given the credit card of 100 or 50 or 1,000. So those are the number of days that you have to live. The sad part is that there is no way you can be able to tell where you actually are, your balance. So not just about valuing and appreciating the people around you that love you and care for you, but also you yourself, living every day, everything that you have ever wanted to do. And this came to remind me, especially when I was writing the book. It was like an eye-opener that today I can be here, tomorrow I can be gone. And how they say that your life flashes before your eyes. When I will come to that moment in my life, will I have lived? Imagine all the dreams that maybe my mom sacrificed for us. And at the end of the day, she had to leave us. Despite how young we were, she still had to leave. It reminds me all those things every single day. So I would just like to encourage someone who is feeling the loss of their loved one somewhere and wondering whether it's still okay for you to feel hurt. Even after so many years, even after 10 years, you can never outgrow the pain. What happens is that it's said that the pain doesn't become less. It's only that you learn to forget it, or we put so many other things in front of that. But the pain is still the very same way. So whether you've lost your kid, you've lost your spouse, someone that was so dear to you, you've lost your parent, your sibling, I don't know what sort of loss you're going through, but the pain is real and it's still there. Whether it doesn't matter the time, it does not fade with time. It's only that other things come before it. So let's just take the lessons that came with it, take the good things that we learned from that, and actually embrace the pain. Learn how to live with the pain. How do we live with the pain? We do not just have, and this is something that maybe I will talk about in the next video, how to cope with the pain. How do we cope with it? Because sometimes it can engulf, and we have seen people who have been engulfed by this pain, people who are not able to let go, people who died as a result of losing their loved one, be it their kid or somebody who was there with them. People have died. And dying is not just you lying on the ground 6 feet under like our loved ones. It can even look like your dreams, losing your dreams because you have lost them, or even losing part of you. You're a walking corpse or a walking skeleton, because everything that you held dear, everything that was making you live, died the day that your loved one died. So they normally say that our loved ones are up there watching us. I tend to think that wherever they are, they played their role, they served their purpose. Now it's your time to do the same. And ask yourself, how would you want to be remembered? Which legacy would you want to leave? We still live on, even if the whole entire world goes on. And that is also another thing that I have learned. Many people will forget you. Remember, it's been over 20 years for my mom, so most people have even forgotten. But to the people like your kids, you will live on through them. To some people that you touch their lives, you will always live through them. And that, for me, has made me want to keep the people around me, or the people that are dear to me, very close. Because I know I'll not be here forever, and they might not even be here with me forever. So this was a very emotional topic for me, but for the first time, I've been able to talk about it, because this is, I think, the first March since I've been able to do this whole YouTube thing. It is something that I've always celebrated every March of every year of my entire life. I remember every single month of March, every year has always been a low moment for me. But this month, I'm choosing to celebrate the good moments that I've had with my mom, even though sometimes I can hardly ever remember them because I was very young. I still choose to remember the good things. Like, I know she was a very strong woman. She was very stubborn in terms of knowing what she wants. She was a very strong woman. She was so very resilient, and I believe that some of the attributes of who I am, I got from her. I know I took a lot from her than even from my dad. So I just hope that sharing this very painful part of my life will encourage someone out there who is dealing with the loss right now, or maybe lost someone some years back and is feeling very heavy-hearted right now. So this whole March is going to be a tribute to my mom, where we'll be talking about loss and the impacts of loss, and even how to deal with loss and grief. So until the next video, have a wonderful, wonderful month of March. Bye-bye.